Welcome, everybody, back to the Divine League Showcase match of the week. It's Tuesday. We are back and ready for a big time matchup. And this time, we've had matches against two top tier teams kind of take each other out in the groups. We've had everything, but we haven't really had the old story of David versus Goliath in a way so far in the regular season. It's kind of what we have on hand today. I'm Slayer, gonna be running you through the desk as we sit here with the two lovely casters next to me, Gordo and Gofrino. Guys, definitely a story between two teams with very different trajectories so far through 4 weeks.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's been a pretty interesting run so far for both of these teams. Primal Instinct Black having a great run so far in the Risen Divine League. They're sitting here 3-1 match record, 7-2 game record. FSU Garnet, they are sitting much lower in the standings at 1-3 overall, but they've had a low-key kind of impressive run where they've been taking a lot of these series the full distance. They have 5-6 as their total game record, so definitely have shown some good upset potential here. And as we're starting to get into the back half of the split, it's really going to mean a lot for them to be able to try to eke out those wins, get the rest of the way over the finish line, get some series wins under their belt, and try to make themselves into that top four for the playoffs.
Because basically FSU Garnet, they kind of have to win all their matches from here on out. There might be some tiebreaker rules if they do end up 3-4. If they lose tonight, then win their other two. But either way, they're going to be really looking for a dub tonight to make sure that they still have a shot at those playoffs without having to rely on rulebook shenanigans.
Yeah, rulebook shenanigans are never a fun go for Reno, and it's certainly going to be a hard shot to take at least off the gate, right? So the logic is if maybe you can get the win this week, it gets a lot greener on the other side of the pasture. But Primal Instinct Black Gordo is a team that is not one to mess around with, no matter honestly what sort of level you're kind of talking about of this amateur scene. They've seemingly been on a pretty big run for the last couple of weeks, regardless which league we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've had a great run here in the ACL so far as well. They were undefeated coming into last Friday's matchup, where they did end up going down 0-2, but still a 6-2 overall game record, a 3-1 overall set record for them over there, and that's in an uncapped league. So they've really been punching above their weight class over there for quite a while. That stuff gets me really excited when looking at a team over here in the Risen Divine League, where you really do have to rely on that kind of team play when there's a big discrepancy between some of the ranks of players you're going to have on your roster. And they've shown that they're able to compete with some big dogs over there and have some really solid success for themselves. So I'm really excited about this team coming to the rest of the Risen Divine League with that background. And they had already dropped a series here already, so they're nowhere near unbeatable. There's certainly an angle here for FSU Garnet, but I'm absolutely going to be predicting for Primal Instinct, and I have very high hopes for this team coming into the rest of the season.
Well, you kind of alluded the idea. Why don't we throw those predictions up on the screen here? And if you've been a mainstay of the Divine League split so far, summer 2023, you know that I am the one guy that seemingly goes against the crowd every time. I thought that was the duty of Bonfire in the past, but now apparently is me. Across the board, though, Primal Instinct Black for all of us. So we'll see if we all roll together or crash and burn together. I'm rolling with the 2-1 personally because I think FSU Garnet, you heard Gordo mention it, has punched above your sort of series score in game record. They're pretty close. They're just a hair under 500. So you think a couple games go differently. They have a completely different record. And I think they'll be able to take one off Primal Instinct Black. But Gofrino, you certainly feel like we might be out of here quickly tonight.
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of leaning towards. It feels like Primal Instinct Black, they should have the number of FSU Garnet tonight. And I'm really leaning towards it being a 2-0. I definitely see the possibility of a 2-1 here, but for me right now, it's feeling like a 4-1 ratio of it being a 2-0 versus a 2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm coming into the night feeling real good about the prediction, especially now that it's shared with all of you guys in terms of results and 2 out of 3 for what the match score is going to be. I'm currently in the lead, by the way, so
I
I'm
know.
I'm gonna make a big point of that and say that I'm gonna be happy to be sticking there after this week, regardless of the result. And just imagine how insufferable I'm gonna be if I end up taking the whole split, guys. I'm here for the respect. I'm here for the recognition, and it's been going great for me so far.
Yeah, I think they said the reward would be a bunch of Travi bucks on the Risen channel.
Let's go, man. I'm stacking them. I've got like 50,000 in here because I'm
Oh,
out here every stream just claiming the extra 50 every time it comes up. So
well, okay, I know there's some admins with a few million right now, or at least a few hundred
Jeez.
thousand.
Jeez, oh my God, toppling the economy. It's funny is we are. I guess we're breaking out the try drafter. I guess we're sticking around as we do get into that game one draft, and we're run through the bands. It's weird because I feel like we're in a weird space with the meta, definitely, because there's been a lot of shifts, a lot of champion nerfs, and lanes like bottom lane have really been toppled around their AD carry pool. So I'm very intrigued to see out the gate how the priorities will come across. Obviously, Primal and Black on that blue side. There's still a lot of great first pick options in the current meta, Gordo, that they could go towards in multiple lanes.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'm excited to see. This is going to be probably our last Divine League week on this patch, as the patch notes drop today. So assume the patch itself going to drop tomorrow or Thursday. So going to be some change ups here. This is going to be our last chance to see old Static Shiv. And we're not going to get to see it this time around, as the LeBlanc is going to get banned away. But plenty of other utilizers around. We've seen the Static Shiv Ari builds. The Static Shiv TF I still think is real good. APA has gotten to show us a lot of that. People are building it on Kennen. People are building it on Kaisa. There's all sorts of picks that could end up utilizing that one. So I want to see a good little send-off here for the Static Shiv builds. That's what I'm hoping for. This is my only competitive match of the week before the patch drops. So this is my last chance to cast some Static Shiv games.
Hey, I mean, I think we're definitely going to see it tonight. You can't ban all the abusers of that item. It's just so strong on AP champions, I feel,
True.
especially the ones with dashes, because he's just stacking up so quickly. That's part of the reason why we see the LeBlanc banned, because, you know, normally she doesn't have the best wave there, but now all of a sudden she has Static Shiv, which pokes you and helps her clear the wave, so... Yeah.
Yeah, you know, speaking of, you know, maybe not a Static Shiv user, but with those nerfs, the AD carries, like I mentioned, one of the AD carries that's kind of risen up, no pun intended there, folks, has been the Ashe. So I've seen a lot more Ashe play for the utility AD carry, and all that goes out the window because, you know, if you'd given me 10 guesses for a B1 pick, for Primal Instinct Black on this patch, Bel'Veth would not have ever been the answer. I would have never gotten it in a million years. So Bel'Veth will be prioritized for the 3-in-1 squad here today. And then we go back to some more normalcy. The Kaisa is certainly one of those AD carries, like you talked about the Static Shiv, and those AP ratios on a lot of those new AD carry abilities has been skyrocketing in the meta.
It also opens up a lot of flexibility for Kaisa builds. Because you can go the Shiv into full AP build, you can go the Shiv into Ginsu's build, or usually that's Kraken into Ginsu, so you definitely got options here as this Kaisa. Although, with the Bel'Veth locked in, my biggest question is, will FSUG lock in the perfect Bel'Veth counter in Rammus? Because Bel'Veth cannot win against Rammus. It's really funny. But then you have Rammus.
Rammus known as just the shutting down so many of those attack speed oriented junglers. Well, Instinct Black not gonna mess around the second phase of this first half of the draft, the Thresh. A lot of high variancy champions lock in. Thresh gonna be thrown to that bottom lane. They're still yet to pick up their AD carry, but Syndra's a champion that is very hit or miss. You can see that for FSU Garnet, they're going with the Annie, the tried and true flash tippers is all you got to do. A lot more complex on the other side for Primal Instinct Black in this mid lane matchup, Gordo.
Definitely, and I do want to call out, I mean, Laneless, a big Bel'Veth player, so not surprised at all to see this getting some real high priority from Primal Instinct. Also want to call out, this is a matchup that you would think they had been a little bit familiar with, or at least they had to have in their back of their mind here. They did play 2 games against Kaisa mid last week in the ACL, had a struggle against it both games, did Platypus, but looks like he's maybe got a little bit of a break here. He's going to be up against the Annie, I would presume. I would be surprised to see a Sammy Annie support come out here. I think this is kind of leaning more towards Soph Magoth taking the Kaisa for the bot lane.
And it just makes so much more sense down there in the current meta. Annie, certainly a very advantageous matchup for the Syndra as well, but it leaves a lot of interesting draft spots here because we have an AD carry technically selected for one side, but still open for Primal Instinct Black. Despite that, it's a lot of solo lane focus on those second wave of bans, go for, especially that Gragas that's been terrorizing so many levels of North American League.
It's going to be the Rel here for FSUG. That pairs really well with the Kaisa. It's a very strong champion currently. The biggest question I have for this lane matchup in the bot lane, will the Flay stop the Pheromancy? Because if you can stop that with the Flay, that really helps Primal Instinct Black here. I almost said Proton Instinct. Primal Instinct Black here in the bot lane. And now it's just a question of what AD carry you pick to the Thresh. The Xayah would be nice for
Ooh.
post 6 engages because you do have that Featherstorm. It gives you that huge amount of safety for all this dive that's coming in from the Kaisa.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. I mean, there's a lot of engage on the side of FSU Garnet, and Zaya can just completely not negate it, but at least delay it, right? And maybe timing wise, you can catch it out, and that can really just turn a fight with one bout of the Featherstorm. Still have the Lantern as well, so you're starting to really see these two comps form in two different ideologies, and the Vi is kind of the stamp of approval. FSU are really, Gordo, just throwing everything at these high level engages where everybody's going in.
They really are. I think the Zaya is a great pick into that. I think the Thresh is going to fit that style more as well. And I think the Camille is a split pusher, a great addition to this kind of disengage focused team comp. It's a great way to play around these kind of engage heavy team comps like Florida has gone for. And it also ends up being a massive comfort composition for Primal Instinct Black. I mean, most played in solo queue for laneless is that Belveth by a lot. Going to be also favored champions of Recommissioner in that Thresh, Key Lime in the Zaya. Nicknix plays Camille as their second most picked in solo queue, but also has historically been a big pick for Nicknix. I mean, I'm remembering him on some of the Zenigma Solar rosters that have played in the Divine League in the past. He was a big Camille player there, so this is really everybody on comfort, except for, you know, maybe arguably Platypus. No, even Platypus on the Syndra. He plays it a lot in solo queue. Never mind. So every single one of these guys, they have a ton of games ported to these champions. These are picks that they want to be going for, and it's a great composition up against what FSU is going for. I mean, I love what Primal Instinct have come out of this draft with.
Jeez, really seems like the stars are aligning for Gordo here from this Primal Instinct Black roster. I dare ask the question, how are you feeling about your sweet predictions, guys? But Gordo definitely laid down how he feels about this game one draft. Go Farino, are you backing a lot of this logic from the Primal Instinct Black side, or do you think the heavy engage from the Garnet roster could potentially come out on top in this one?
So I think the Primal Instinct composition, considering they should have a winning mid lane here, and then hopefully a winning bot lane here, should set them up in this game, I feel, because this is a very one-note composition from FSUG. If they can't go in and kill you, they are stuck in very low range against you, and they're going to be eating a lot of potential AoE from your AD carry plus mid combo here. So that can be a huge issue here. But if FSU, they're able to get ahead and able to get this burst down, that can be a huge win for them. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing here. If FSU is going to win, it's going to be they'll be able to get in, get the damage done before return damage is thrown at them, and then just be able to clean up the fight.
Yeah, certainly a recipe for success in more ways than one. As we're now going through on the client side drafts, we can get a bit of more of an idea of exactly where some of these laners are going to slot in. I know some people were thinking for a moment there, FSU Garnet could have thrown some curveballs. I mean, you heard Gordo talk about maybe the Kaisa mid. He could have thrown any support. Rel jungle was a thing for a while. She's still pretty strong, which is always fun from such a dynamic champion like Rel. But with the Vi prominent, that will probably be locked in jungle. So you're starting to see that FSU, they could have thrown some craziness our way, but they're sticking to the normal lanes for a lot of these champions. And it's safe to say you can kind of respect the decision, right, Gordo? It's like we talked about before we got into the draft that they need to start winning series now. They need to get off on the right foot in series now. What better way to do that than a composition where you really control the tempo if things go well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we might have to wait until next patch for that Rel jungle, by the way. Stay tuned for that one, everybody. But and I don't want to sound like I'm all doom and gloom on the FSU draft here either way. It's not just as simple as engage comp versus disengage split push comp. I mean, there's also a lot of snowball potential here on the side of the FSU draft. I mean, and you can invalidate a lot of compositional stylistic differences by just being a boatload of gold ahead, and they have a great composition to be able to do that. I mean, the Vi early ganks are going to be super valuable. There's an immobile Syndra that you can gank really effectively by just, you know, flashing on her with the Annie and going for these kind of kills. You have a really powerful engage tool and pair up in the bottom lane along with that Vi with the Rel and the Kaisa being able to come in with the killer instinct. Olaf can just run amok in the top lane. He's going to have the early game advantage over that Camille. I mean, the winning lanes here, if they can get them, can certainly, make up for that kind of stylistic difference and even more if they're able to pull it off. So they definitely have angles to take control of the game, like Goferino said, get themselves ahead and have their way with the map as much as they want. There's plenty opportunity for them to be able to do that. It's just going to, if it comes out even, that's where we really start to favor the Primal Instinct comp.
And so many times when you talk about these compositions that, the goal, the league is definitely a game of three facets, right? Obviously early, mid, and late game. And a lot of teams when they draft like this, the early game is very obvious. It's very clear how to play it out, go for it. But when we see these comps come together, a lot of times it's teams that struggle the most when they win those early games. And they struggle in the mid game to really capitalize on whatever lead they brought over.
Yeah, I'm looking at these comps. I mean, definitely FSU, they have the comp to really capitalize on leads here. That's just kind of the nature of these sorts of unga bunga run at you all in comps. Like, if you're ahead, you just kind of run at them and they probably die in your wake because you're like a stampeding force. Make a bit of a metaphor here. And on the other side, Primal Instinct Black, if they have the lead here, it is still going to be a little bit more tricky for them because they don't have the most innate amount of tankiness. They're really going to have to leverage their skill here to dodge out on the engage. So definitely a little bit harder of a tightrope here for Primal Instinct Black if they are the ones that get ahead and have to keep/push them.
It will be very interesting to see how early game plays out, especially now that we know Summer is available for everybody downstairs, and it does mean that we have a top lane matchup, a flashless top lane matchup. So we already talked about the fact that both these mid laners are playing pretty immobile champions, and now you have no flash involved top side. You already talked about how an early game jungler like Vi could capitalize on that. I wouldn't be surprised if Laneless tries to capitalize on it, especially against Career Criminal. We're really gearing up for some junglers to have high impact on a game like this, Gordo.
For sure. I mean, a no flash top lane. Imagine telling somebody in 2013 that this would be the state of League of Legends someday.
Yeah, right.
A great setup here between those two. They're both going to be playing a little bit more aggressive, and potentially just trying to utilize their champion kits more so than that flash to be able to escape and engage and all that stuff. We got some masteries coming through here, Haroons, as the newfangled kids call them. As it is going to be that grasp setup for the Camille, so going to be looking to play a little safe, going to be looking to scale a little bit more.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary here in the top lane. Jungle, I mean, kind of expected. Double conquer. Very good, very tried, very true. That's the biggest interesting thing here for the Bel'Veth would be, usually you see the Cyan tree secondary, I think, just because the upgrade, or the lower cooldown on Cyan is just so handy, but nothing too surprising.
First strike on both of these mid laners. That's always an interesting duel because you both
only one of you gets it. Yeah,
only one of you can really cash that in multiple times. It's always fun to track that. So that'll be fun to watch. Lethal versus Hail of Blades. That certainly pushes the ideal that FSU's bottom lane is going to want early and often aggression. That's usually what you think about with Hail of Blades and Lethal Tempo. No real surprise there, but does give us a little bit of a tale of what we could expect. We've already guessed from an FSU comp that wants to get crazy early, and the sports. Why not add some slows to the four-way, guys? Right?
So one interesting thing is Soph as Kaisa did have futures market. I think I've heard a little bit about this tech, but as my friends just casually mentioning it to me, so I don't know the full details. It's kind of interesting that we are seeing that tech here. I guess got something cool in the ruins here.
What is it to accelerate? Do you know that much, or do you just know that it is a tech?
I was literally just playing it in solo or in flex queue the other day with my friend, and he's like, "Oh, did you take futures market?" I'm like, "What? No." It's like,
okay.
Cases usually take that. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess that sounds like tech they would take."
I guess I don't know, just a spitball. I guess it does give you some of those upgrades, like maybe a little sooner. Like you can hit those thresholds just teeny bit
That's
faster.
Usually why
it's usually like a Roa or something, or a tier that you're trying to hit the threshold on early, but this counts too, I suppose.
Yeah, it's usually very specific backtimes. Like full clear jungle to futures market proc. I don't know. Don't have to worry about here. Just have to see how Soph Magof uses it.
Soph Magof. I feel like that name is so familiar to me. I was saying this before the broadcast started. Right. I don't know what I know it from because I've searched all of my notes historically and I have not found any instances, but I feel like I've cast this guy before. I feel like we have a history, Soph McGough.
Gordo, at this point, there are a few players I feel like in at this level of amateur that you don't have a history casting.
You'd think that, but they just keep coming, man. There's new people every single split. There's so many.
Yeah, well, I mean, guess what? You got 10 more players you're about to cast right now, Gordo, and we're ready to actually hop into games. As much fun as we've had on the analyst desk here, let's throw it to Summoner's Rift. Gordo and Gofrino will take you through Game 1, Primal Instinct Black, FSU Garnet.
Thank you very much, Slayer, as we are going to say goodbye until this game is over. Gofrino and I are going to be taking over as Primal Instinct Black is taking to the Rift up against FSU Garnet. Going to be looking to keep their win streak alive. FSU kind of in do or die mode at this point, Gofrino. They have got to get themselves some series wins under their belt if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive in this group.
Yeah. Like I said in Champion Select, they might be able to lose tonight, and then if they win their last two, maybe by like some technicality in the rulebook, but that's something you never want to rely on. Of course, as we predicted, it is very strongly Pib favored tonight, and it is going to be an uphill battle for us, but I think we would all like to see FSU win here and keep their hopes alive.
For sure. Always good to have some of those competitive groups coming in, and we're going to need games to watch in weeks 6 and 7, guys. So let's keep that in mind, everybody. We want to have some close playoff races to get to cover here.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we won't see next week, though. Next week is a bye week in honor of the 4th of July, or July 4th, or 7-4. However you call it. Fireworks Day? I think some people call it that. You there, Gordo? Did my patriotism kill your mic? Nope.
Something killed by Mike.
There you go.
It's the old Discord disconnect and reconnect. I don't know. I
don't know. Because it's like, this is an awkward silence. I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably your mic having issues again.
Either my mic having issues or I really don't want to talk about the 4th of July. I don't know. But yeah, I'm told we have a number of Americans in the league, in this North American Amateur League. So yeah, quite a few.
Sense.
Gonna be taking a bit of a break for 4th, but we'll of course be back the following week. But you know, this is the last game before a break, and it is the last game before a new patch. So gonna have some scrim time on the next patch after this one. Kind of last time to show what you've had cooking up on the static shift patch. And I'm gonna be honest, I think we're only really gonna see like one static shift this game. So I'm pretty disappointed coming into game number 1.
We could see 2 here. Key Lime can also get it, like, because I know everybody's talking about it on AP Champions because, you know, the ratio is just kind of a bit silly. That, and also with all the extra punk you get from it. That's why they're nerfing it specifically for AP Champions, mostly to the minions. But for AD Champions, it's still going to be more or less the same. It still gives you a nice little boost to wave clear. I mean, not like Xayah really needs more wave clear, but if you are behind, it can be handy.
Sure.
Ooh, okay.
Kazada looking for a little bit of an invade to start things off, but just going to have their wards scanned out. And Laneless, are you going to be able to kill this? All right. We have a little bit of shenanigans going on. Laneless does manage to get that ward. He gets that vision score up, but going to make sure to defend himself a little bit here before he commits to the blue buff.
Yeah, blue buff reset, though. That sucks. I mean, you're still ahead. You are Belveth. You farm pretty fast. It's just with that reset, you know. Gonna have to take a bit of extra time. A little bit of a goof on main here. Goof on the cam. Nothing too bad.
Yep. It's always the risk is a little root came in there from Key Lime, gets some nice damage on a Soph McGough to start things off. The Xayah Thresh lane taking a bit of control in the early game. I think that's to be expected as they're going to be crashing this wave in. But Kazada making his way into the bottom river, looking to see if he can get something started. A nice hook landed by Commissioner. But he's going to have to get out of here now. Scoop back in by Sammy. The follow-up stun. Here's the exhaust. They want to chase down Commissioner for first blood. A nice double root comes through from Key Lime, but just delays the inevitable first blood. Picked up for Soph, and now chasing down out of Key Lime is Sammy. Key Lime will be able to get out of there in time, and now chasing back a little bit, but no backup. It's just a free run to the top side for Laneless.
And first blood goes over to Soph McGough. I mean, Kaisa is a champion that does scale well with gold, and of course, early kills are really great on her because you hit those evolutions earlier. Might have a bit of a dive shaping up here in the top lane. Very low is this Olaf. Career Criminal does not have the Ragnarok, as they are level 4, so this could be a very easy dive. Look for the knock-up, look for the bop-up.
Laneless gets it. Nice expending of the flash there. No Ragnarok available. Olaf can't do Olaf things, and that's going to be the first kill of the game for Primal Instinct, and Nicknix is going to be the recipient.
Get your split pusher snowballing in this matchup. That can be very bloody. I mean, of like the one top laner main I know that has expressed opinions on Olaf top. It's been very strong opinions. Opinions that I can't quote word for word on stream due to Twitch TOS. But that should just paint a picture of how frustrating the Olaf top can be. Because he just brawls 1v1 so well. You get him low, he's just attacking faster. He now has the shield, all the vamp. He's slowing you, and you can't get away. But now you have this very crucial kill lead in this lane as Nicknix, and you should be outscaling, and you're already on that chain, so you should be feeling fine.
Yeah, and this is a matchup that you really want to be ahead if you're Primal Instinct, right? If you're going to be playing disengage focused for Key Lime and Commissioner and everybody with that Syndra to scatter them away, you want to be strong in the side where Nicknix is going to be able to play those one-on-ones, maybe even those one-on-twos. Having that early kill going to do a lot to make sure that they're going to be able to get there both sooner and more safely.
It's a very early Dragon startup here. Hasn't even been on the Rift for a minute, but you got a bit of prio in that bot lane. You got some prio in the mid lane. Is sniffed out here by Laneless. Does not have the flash due to that top lane dive. I don't see a blast cone either. So that's just going to be a free dragon picked up. Unless the hook lands. It does land, so there might be a bit of a punish. Flash stun.
Ooh, that's a big three-man stun coming through from Platypus, and Silver Pup going to be the recipient of a whole face full of feathers. Primal Instinct, they punish the dragon take. They get a great setup from Platypus, and they take themselves a kill.
Great punish there. I mean, obviously the dragon will outvalue that single kill in the long run, but you get a kill here for Key Lime, your 80 carry. It's going to be a huge source of damage for you. You're certainly happy about that. You also got out the flash here from Kasada. Vi without flash is a lot less deadly because you can't do the flash Q for an easy pop-up, or you can't flash ulti and get that extended range on that. Okay, Ragnarok popped.
All right, Nicknix maybe biting off more than he can chew here. Ragnarok to chase him down, and Career Criminal. This is going to take the solo kill up against this Camille. Knows that he can immune it, knows that he can take the fight, and it's going to be 2-2 on the scoreboard.
Yep, that's the thing with Olaf top, you know, even though you're on one, you know, you still have the pickaxe here. And you do a lot of damage, as you see there. When you pop the Ragnarok, it gives you a huge boost of AD. Okay, probably not a huge amount at this point in the game, but it is a sizable amount, especially for 7.5 minutes into the game. And yeah, now it's just completely evened up in this top side. 1-1 on both these top laners. Technically 2 CS differentiates them, but that's being technical. Decently bloody game so far, though. Not the 1 kill per minute that everybody likes to tout as the gold standard of a hashtag banger game, but been pretty actionable.
This is an interesting lane rotation coming through from FSU. I mean, they want to challenge for Rift Herald, I suppose, so they're bringing supports and ADs up, but throwing their Olaf bot. Sammy taking a little bit of damage from that death sentence, but not going to be too much. He can walk away. He's pretty tanky.
Yeah, like you said, this is an interesting rotation. Obviously, Pib, they do have a higher prio on topside objectives here due to the fact that they have the Bel'Veth, due to how the Gamora... No, that's the Casino Fallout New Vegas. The little void links she has.
Remora.
What?
The Remora.
The Remora, yeah. I was thinking of the Casino from New Vegas. But the Remora, you get extra stacks from the void-based monsters, and you do go into your true form here. It's gonna be sitting in that greatly enhanced form if they do want to go for a gank. They also have the Eye of the Herald, so that would be a lot of cash if you get that to crash into a turret. Just gonna hold on to it for now.
Yeah, that's a really interesting rotation there, like you said, like I said, like we both said. I think the idea is Career Criminal didn't have the cooldowns, so they just wanted to still have a chance to challenge. Ooh, Silver Pup does not end up landing the Tibbers stun there, and Platypus just gonna chuck that big Teemo back where he came from.
Yeah, I mean, that's a funny thing about the Syndra versus Annie matchup. You just kind of throw Tibbers back at her, like, no, you. I mean, the Tibbers doesn't damage Silver Pup, but it's like, now the Tibbers has to run all the way back, which is a bit of a bro moment. Bit of a calm before the storm here. Blast Cone on over. Look for the knockup. That's 1 knockup. That's 2 knockup.
Ooh, Kazada just committing everything and going to get paid off for it. Laneless goes down And that's going to be FSU starting off this fight the right way. Now chasing down on a Commissioner who is going to take a big punch. Nice super comes through from Key Lime, though, to trade back a kill. 3-on-3, and the money going right where you want it onto that Xayah. So a little bit of alone time to hit this turret plate. They're going to get a plate for it, too. PIB, they managed to make the best out of the situation.
Yeah, we're even in kills. There is a bit of a gold lead here, though. If you look, there is a hefty CS lead in both the mid and bot lane right now for Primal Instinct Black, so they're going to be feeling nice about that. But all things considered, still anybody's game right now. Great punish on that overcommit from Kazada, but then also a great punish onto Laneless there for... Oh. All right.
Syndra stuff, baby. Nice Unleashed Power, gonna net Platypus a solo kill in the top lane.
Yeah, mano a mano. Or solo bolo, as the youngins say it.
This is a weird game, Goferino. Like, there's just kills happening in the one-on-one matchups.
You gotta walk back to lane. Nobody knew TP was good except for Malphite players.
It's a weird one. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. I mean, people are just solo killing each other back and forth. Primal Instinct, they've got themselves a 1k gold lead. They've been at that for a little while now. Next Dragon's in 15 seconds. Let's see if FSU want to keep going for that early stacking strategy. I think it's a good game plan when you're this kind of engaged, focused team comp that really wants to make use of tempo.
That, and also, like, if you put all 5 people on Dragon, you're forcing them to fight you. Like, and that's what this comp wants. You're like, yeah, you know what? We're the Unga Bunga comp. We want to fight you 5v5. Oh, teleport. Okay, this is a big flank, but that's a good hook.
Oh, great job by Recommissioner. Just completely shuts him down to start things off. Sammy getting the engage on the backside, though. Magnet Storm onto 2. Platypus going to get forced into that stasis. Key Lime staying alive for a lot longer than expected. And a flash out from Syndra. Now it's Bel'Veth's time to shine. Laneless trying to chase down onto Soph Magov, who does have that flash and will get out to safety. And there's no Syndra here to rein in the damage. They're turning this back around. Silverpup going to get stunned up. Follow-up Q. Going to take 2 down with them. And Laneless with the resets, netting a double, a triple over to Platypus, and Primal Instinct Black, they turn the fight back around.
Good lord, yeah. Because it looked like FSU, they had the upper hand there towards the end of that. It's just one last fadeaway stun from Platypus, able to seal the deal there, and then more resets come through for Laneless. That's the thing with this Bel'Veth, like, you just snowball team fights so hard. If you get one reset, then you're in true form, you're doing all that empowered damage, then you get another reset, and then another reset, and every time you get a reset, you know, you're healing a bunch of health up, so it just becomes more and more impossible. And great just turnaround there on the tail end.
Ooh, Commissioner.
By Kib.
Not done yet. Oh, Key Lime, though, just with the one-on-one up against Soph. Nick Nix is over the wall. He's going to finish the job. 10-6 on the scoreboard. Primal Instinct, they find another big pick in mid.
Nick Nix with the all-me kill secure there. And yet, you don't walk up to Kaisa like, or don't walk up to the Xayah like that. That one's always a hard sell. Soph Magov probably tunnel visioning just a little bit there and didn't notice the Feathers War stacking up. Got a dive shaping up in the bot lane. Ragnarok popped.
Yeah, going to try to turn this one around, but Laneless has got a lot of damage, just going to be dashing back and forth at every which way, and Laneless going to pick up another kill there up against Career Criminal. His side lane not going the way FSU wants, and Silverpup chunked to about half. Unleashed Power is available. He's going to have to be very careful in this one-on-one.
And just like that, we're about a little over a 3.5k goal difference between these two teams. Like, just a few minutes ago, I wrote down a note, like, yeah, in 11 minutes in, it's pretty even. It was about a 1,000 goal differential in favor of Hib, not to be confused with the Soda. And now it's just ballooned to well over triple that. Even be quadruple that, because they are getting some plates here.
Oh, Platypus. A little bit of a 2v1. He's going to try to turn it around. Misses the scatter. Throws out the Unleashed Power. A nice stasis from Silverpup is going to net him a shutdown off the back of that big Teemo. Great play there to use the stopwatch wisely, but it's going to be at the cost, potentially, of this mid lane turret.
Yeah, that's first turret 2. Going to be a bunch of extra money here for your AD carry that's already ahead of the competition. Just thanks in large part to the CS differential. And now, I mean, that looks like what? Almost a 5k differential. Okay, that's like 4.6. I know, I'm not doing math correctly right now. Either way though, Gold lead noticeably larger right now, Gordo, and FSU, they're going to be feeling the brunt of this pretty soon around these next objectives.
Yeah, I do appreciate the strategic decision making here from FSU, though, right? They've still got an idea of what they want to do. They know that even though they're behind, they can't let up the pressure. They are still the earlier game team comp, but that's a double stun coming through from Platypus. That's a hook on the Soph, and already the ADC is taken off the map.
Okay.
Velvet, though, taken out on the backside. Career Criminal is going to have the Ragnarok drop off, and that's the only signal Keyline needs to step up. Checks the bush, knows that it's safe, and now is free to just rain down feathers from the other side. Takes out Platypus, still untouched, goes on to Career Criminal. Sammy now trying to escape. The hook doesn't quite land, but this is a fight win for Primal Instinct if I've ever seen one. Keylime with the ghost charging is looking to hunt down this rel, and it's going to be Nick once again going in for the kill secure. He's got that ultimate. He commits the ignite, and Sammy still running for it, still ticking down. The ignite does expire. He's sticking up for a little longer. He might actually get out of this one. He's giving him the rope-a-dope.
Got that juju on that beat. Wait. You recall here, you might get found out. Wait. Oh, okay. Still, that went in favor of Pip. 3 for 2. They also stopped the Rift Herald taking. It looks like they're just going to grab Herald for themselves here on the back end. As well as a bunch of extra damage. So even with that fancy escape there, you just kind of saw at the start of the fight, like, there's a lot of damage on Pip right now. Hold that thought. Vault Breaker.
All right, Teleport is coming in. They're going to have to be fast. They missed the Tibbers again. A great flash from Platypus. Unleashed power. Silver Pup taken so low. Going to have to get out of here. Career Criminal teleported up to match Nick. So going to be an even trade there. But now the numbers advantage for Primal Instinct going on in with the ultimate. Locking down this Olaf. Chunking him to about half HP. And now going to be the rest of FSU just retreating. They've got every member up top, Gofrino. And none of them can do anything.
Good lord. Yep, and there's the objective bounties notification, so it's spiraled out of control a little bit here. It's not completely all doom and gloom, but you really are on the back foot here, and really this next dragon fight is going to make or break a lot of FSU's chances of getting back into this game, because I figure they're going to want to fight it, because you do still want to force the 5v5s here, even if you are behind. That's what your comps need to do. And if you're at least able to pull that off, you know, you stabilize the lead, probably get some bounties here. Oh, aimless. Might be a little caught out.
Yeah, going to try to get onto this Belveth. Does have the dash, can get over walls. It's going to be a jump in onto Kazada. Soph Magoth, though, still in a pretty safe position. Kazada going to get chunked out very low. The Magnet Storm lands onto 3. It is going to be Kazada dropping first. Another great hook to Soph Magoth. Never missing these is Commissioner, and it's going to make a big difference in the fight as Laneless resetting over and over, staying up, but up against a Ragnarocking Olaf will eventually be cut down. Finally, though, it's Keylime coming through with the damage. Has already taken out 4 and is going to look to get one more. Commissioner just here to keep eyes on him, flays him back, sets it up for his AD carry, and that's an ace earned for Primal Instinct.
All right. Well, the fight that I said was probably going to happen at Dragon came a little bit earlier here, Gordo, and things are looking really doomed for FSU Garnet in this first game. Like, was they're down 7k now? Okay, like 6.5k. Gonna be down in dragons, they're gonna be down in turrets, they're gonna be down on every single front here. They don't have like someone to rally around here that has a definitive lead on their team. It's just everyone on their team's kind of behind their respective counterparts by a noticeable amount.
Yeah, it's certainly noticeable, right? I mean, they'd have to all pair up onto one person, and they are going to do that on a Platypus. The Unleashed Power, though, takes Kaisa right out the map. Kazada gets left out to dry. Nick finishes off that kill, and FSU is once again a man down. Maybe going to make it multiple as Nick is looking to chase this one down. Oh, no, it's still ticking. He's done. He's out of there.
Yeah. Because you also had the Doran's Blade. If you use the Cathian Rain Q here, Soph Magoth, maybe you heal enough off those crooks, but yeah. Here's Herald charging on inhibitor. Wow, that's a lot of damage. That sure is a Rift Herald charge, all right. And yep, I mean FSU, they're trying to make plays. That's great here, Gordo. The problem is, with that Zonia's already completed on Platypus, that just lets them stall out so much time here for the cavalry to come. You saw the hook shot come through. You saw Belveth come through. Just everybody rushing to the aid of, I don't know what Syndra is in the lore.
She's like one of those champions that doesn't really fit in with anything. Like I remember when they started leaking her, everyone was like, everyone thought she was Kaisa. Everyone thought, oh, this is Kassadin's daughter, the champ that was promised for forever. And then it wasn't. She's not even Void related. She just happens to be purple.
Yeah, which is a little confusing. She's Ionia. And like the biggest thing of Syndra lore I know was the fan Syndra XZ comic, which was actually really cute. I never finished reading that, but it was really cute as supplemental lore. That was back in like 2013 though, so that was real boomer stuff. I don't know if the young guns know about that, or because they probably retconned the lore of Zed and Syndra and Ionia as a whole like 14 times over in just the past year alone.
Yeah, I don't think they'll retcon Syndra someday. You know they will, because she doesn't like have any relationships with anybody. Like she's like completely disconnected from pretty much everything else.
I think she's listed as friends with Zed on the League of Legends universe page.
All right, well there's that. There's that comic, and that's the best she's got.
Yeah, I think that's it. She's probably also... Actually, I can look that up. I mean, we got a bit of downtime right now.
Eventually. A nice scatter comes through from Platypus, going to chunk Career Criminal down. To about half HP. He's going in for the Unleashed Power. The attempt does take out the turret. Has to go into the stasis. Could end up going down. That is going to make Ragnarok drop off. And now Career Criminal can heal off this wave, but the stun lands, and Platypus takes him down in the one-on-one.
Ooh, so close there from Career Criminal, but yeah, the Zonias once again just helping out so much there. And another fun fact about Zonias, it's like, what, 50 armor? And Olaf is a very physical damage-based champion, so that helps a lot. Here's the Baron start, though. You got the TP coming in. You have this now 2-item Bel'Veth that just shreds Baron with a 2.5-item Kaisa. That's a good hook. Hit or miss? Guess they never miss, huh?
Doesn't look like it. Commissioner going for another one, forcing the flash. And this is his main champion, right? This is the pick that gets banned against Commissioner the most. This is what they pick the most in solo queue, and showing why here. Showing great mastery of the Thresh in this game. Another hook over the wall. Silver Cup gonna go down. Nick staying alive the whole way through. Soph Magov just trying to cash out. Just wants to get a little bit of money in the bank to have some chance at making a comeback. Kazada now still sticking up. Could try to survive and go for some kind of steal, but he's got Laneless right in front of him. The next reset comes through. Career Criminal is back on the map and does have that Ragnarok. And that ward still hasn't been swept out. Kazada's got the vision. Can go for a big steal here. Primal Instinct, they're skipping steps. Getting into that pit. The steal comes through for Kazada. He will go down, but Career Criminal now just has to try to get his way out of dodge along with that Baron buff. He's not going to do it. Keylime goes godlike, and Sammy is the sole recipient of Baron.
You stopped the Baron, though, and you stealed for yourself, so I'd say that's a dub. I mean, you lost a lot off of it, but...
I'd say the same. Yeah. I mean, it's probably an ill-advised Baron start there from Primal Instinct. They don't sweep out the wards. They don't have a control ward to put in there, even though they've got 2 in their inventory now. And they just let Kazada get in there and snag it away.
Okay. So I just got to Syndra's universe.leagueoflegends.com page.
Okay.
Related champions, it's only Irelia Karma.
Oh boy.
Tragic. They retconned.
Retconned. Not even Easter eggs anymore.
Yeah, tragic. Oh well, we can get back to this game. That does breathe a bit of life here into FSU because you still have 1 Baron buff. So you just plant that into the lane that is the main lane where Pip is trying to siege, and that's such a huge roadblock for them. They can still muscle through it. They do still have this super huge lead. But it just helps you buy some time here to potentially get some stabilization. Like maybe have someone split pushing in the side lane to pick up a outer turret here. And I'll get a little bit of extra gold with the objective bounties. That's something. But if FSUG, they're not able to get anything too much out of this, I'll hold that thought because we got a dive shaping up here in the top. Oh my god, there's 4 people coming top.
Yeah, just going all in on a Nick, who does manage to sneak away there. Does still have access to the ultimate to try to play around this. The Tibbers, once again, does not come through for the stun. And Nick actually managing to launch himself the other way around. Is going to try to trade back onto Kazada. The Ignite is ticking, but it's not going to be enough damage. And Kazada going to end up taking out the kill. But the whole way through, Primal Instinct are in the base. They've taken down the inhibitor turret. They're going to take down mid inhibitor while they're at it. Platypus is pushing on the bottom side. The TPs are being channeled. The recalls are coming back. And now they're going to have to get themselves out of dodge. Laneless left a little bit alone. Career Criminal, you know, they don't get a lot of opportunities like this. They're going to siege them when they get them. but nah, Laneless is going to be able to sneak on away. Just too many dashes on that Bel'Veth.
Yep. And now the dragon's up, so that's soul point. And let's see if you're able to contest here. Nick Nix does have teleport here. That's a good stun. Great double stun, actually.
But that is their one kind of way to dissuade the engage. They are going to try to push the buttons and get on in there, but Sofmago's going to just be melted down right away. And again, it's Bel'Veth Reset City. They have managed to get their way onto Keylime and take him out. Platypus is still 1v1ing the mid lane over here, going to force Silverpup into the stasis. And Silverpup, he got no teammates left there, buddy. It's the shutdown picked up for him up against Platypus, but a triple kill to Laneless, showing the Bel'Veth mastery, picking up the ace, and a 2 versus 0 push into the base to follow.
Can they finish it? And no, there's 10 seconds left and you're just getting the minions in. So it looks like they might just be picking up bot lane. And no, they're going for it. I mean, they can definitely get both of these turrets. Thing is, you got the members respawning here. Like, you both take objectives very quick. There's the stun missing. Okay, you're just diving here.
Just going all in onto Soph, who is going to get locked down, in that Hextech ultimatum will drop, but now Kazana's the first reset picked up for Laneless. He wants to fight this one out. He wants to take this 2 versus all. Going in onto Sammy, going to go in for their second reset, gets plenty of health back, but gets punched out of it, and the shutdown comes through for Kazana. It was a nice effort there for Laneless, but the game will drag on.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You won't be able to end there. You do get both Nexus turrets, which is huge. And it's not like there's really anything you give up here on the map, because you just took Dragon. Baron's not up for about another 2 minutes. So really, all FSU Garnet can do with this right now, Gordo, is like, all right, let's get these waves pushed out. Maybe they get a turret, but that's kind of a hard maybe, because you can see where the waves are right now. It's just pushed to their side of the map on each and every single one of these lanes. And even when they are, well, now 1 man down, got some members just crashing in on this top lane. Why not push it? You know, got this big wave shaping up. Still got 1 inner turret left. Just crash the wave on into that one.
Yeah, they've wreaked some havoc on the enemy base over the course of that push for certain, and are now just 1 solid push away from ending things. You can see, I mean, Nick Nix even has backdoor angles available. You know, you can travel a lot of distance really quickly with that hook shot, and if it ends up working out for him, he could just backdoor the whole Nexus. Platypus finding some good damage onto Sammy there. Wow, that Void Stab is doing work. And Nick Nick's there with the interrupt. Sammy not long for this world. And now the flank on the side. Here's the last-ditch effort. Kazada throwing himself in.
That's one.
Be the first kill, but look at Keylime on the side. Has dodged out on the Vault Breaker. Is going to take him out. Resets for Laneless in the middle of the fight. Feathers ripping through everybody. And Silverpup once again going to find himself as the last one standing. Going to get taken down by the sword legs. And that's going to be an ace for 2. Picked up for Primal Instinct Black, as they are going to take a convincing game number 1.
Really convincing. Of course, it was pretty even here for the first bit of this game, and FSU, they had a real good running in it, but it's just that one huge team fight that we saw around 13 minutes, 12 minutes, where Pip, they're able to start generating a huge lead, get themselves ahead on every single front, and then just kind of bowl over the rest of the game from there, Gordo. It didn't really feel like FSU Garnet had any ways back into this one once that snowball started. Oh, hi, Slayer.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I'm still here. Don't worry. Yeah, that game was, I think you put it pretty aptly there, Goverito, is that in the beginning, it kind of went the way maybe we expected, a close battle, because FSU Garnet drafted that early game oriented composition. They made some interesting plays. They capitalized on some interesting punishes, Gordo. I mean, I've never seen the lane swapping your bottom lane to mid for a couple of minutes meta before. It certainly was intriguing. But as you can see at the end of the day, a big blue sort of Mount Everest built up as PIB just really moved around the map much better and capitalized way better to take this game.
Yeah, and I don't want to clown on that rotate too much. I really like what FSU was going for there. I think they clearly have thought behind most of their actions this game. But you know, too many plays went too sideways. They got too many kills on the Bel'Veth and the Syndra on the Xayah, and it just became much harder and harder to have any chance of winning these. Like, they were rotating up to mid to try to challenge Rift Herald, and they had all their Olaf cooldowns down, so they rotated him to bot to hold, and we're trying to get at that Rift Herald and stop the Bel'Veth from doing what you know she wants to do, right? Get that evolved form, get those Remora going. Again, they just didn't find a window though, and they kind of just farmed mid and then had to rotate back down to bot. So it ends up looking silly, but I like the idea, right? You can see what they were planning.
Certainly can. You really got an idea of exactly what they were trying to do, and you have to commend that. But the real first tipping point came around like 11:30 on the clock here. We had a couple scattered picks, couple fights, but this was the big time fight. Go Farino. They really changed it for PIB.
And I mean, look at FSU. They have a good flank setup. It's just that hook mid vault breaker into basically insta killing Kazada here. You already get your first reset here for the spell death, and then off the back of it, great Zonius coming through with a stopwatch, and now it looks like things are kind of doomed for FSU because that's another reset. That's a big play. But with the Tibbers distracting away this Syndra, you're able to just kind of isolate this, try and finish off some kills here. That's one, but then you got this big double stun. Should be a nice juicy double knockup here. Yep, into the little Syndra Q. That's kind of all she wrote for this fight if I am to cosplay a bit of a play-by-play here.
And that really kind of foreshadowed how a lot of those fights went, because laneless Belveth at multiple points was just having the time of his life on Belveth. So showing why exactly he's one of his most played champions, was able to get those big time resets in multiple of these fights. But you know, Gordo, it really felt like everybody was firing on all cylinders aside of PIB. The early game was back and forth, but once things started rolling, it felt like nobody could miss a hook, miss a skill shot, or miss play in general.
Yeah, definitely some gaps in the plays there a little bit, right? I mean, you find in that last play, you know, they've got their mid laner Platypus just roaming just a little too far away, and it ends up making the fight probably a little closer than you'd like. They have that Baron steal that they give up as well, skipping a couple of steps there, not quite sweeping out the pit. So there's definitely opportunities for FSU in this game, but they just get narrower and narrower with each opportunity that isn't seized successfully, and eventually they're just too narrow to do anything, right? This the classic snowball of League of Legends there.
Yeah, and Gordo, you kind of foreshadowed to our next replay here. We are going to pull up the one main Baron attempt. The reason why this game kind of got extended a couple of minutes in a lot of ways, and you heard Gordo point out, firstly, you can take a look at that ward that just never gets swept out, but boy did Primal and Black try really hard to just annihilate FSU Garnet before the pit. Another stop, you've heard this before, Commissioner hitting hook after hook to just shut anybody out of this pit. But here's where things get kind of weird, right? Primal and Black go back and forth between juggling Baron. They're holding aggro this whole time. Platypus is taking a ton of damage. They still haven't swept out the ward. Kazada is still hanging around this pit. You see Laneless has to go back to re-juggle aggro. So many low health bars. And that ward is still there. So Kazada just sits up, charges up that Vault Breaker, goes right in, and is able to not only pull off the steal, he picks up that shutdown as well. And some little mental miscues that in a much closer game could have really turned the tides against Primal Instinct Black, but luckily, because of how great of a gold lead they had and how well the other plays went, they were able to make sure that that kind of big mistake, Go Farino, didn't cost them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they had already built up a really huge lead then, so even with that, they had such a huge cushion. And there's only one Baron buff left over after all was said and done, so it wasn't like FSU Garnet was really able to it here. So Primal Instinct Black, they're like, okay, but that was like one of my big worries this game. We saw with that Baron and that early attempt or early ending attempt that it does seem like they are a little eager to pull the trigger on some of these calls here, and that might just bite them in the keister here. That's something we'll see in this third replay, but that is coming up here in just a second.
Yeah, third replay is that final fight, the final ace, and Gordo, take us through Primal Instinct Black wiping the floor.
Yeah, I mean, Primal Instinct, they start this off with a great pick onto the main engage tool they've been relying on here, which is Sammy. Another really great interrupt there, ends up coming on through from Nick Nicks, and then Sammy's just got nowhere to go. Again, now, immediately, they know that in a 5v4 push, they're just doomed to lose their base, so Kazada goes in for the back line, gets on a Platypus, a great setup, but it's all Keylime in this fight. He and Laneless can just stay alive the whole way through. Keylime does so much damage, a nice dodge with the Vault Breaker as well, and can just rip through the rest of this team. It was a pretty solid fight from them from there on out. I mean, you know, it was drawn up well. They got themselves the pick on the mid laner, but nobody's there to answer Keylime, and they've got 2 carries to deal with this game. Arguably 3 if you count the Belveth as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Belveth just soaking up so much damage, too. But I feel like that was every fight I watched. I went, why is everybody ignoring Fed Zaya? Like, it's just, that's never a recipe for success. And that's just how hard of a fight and game scenario that FSU Garnet really had in this game number one. But luckily, folks, like you've seen all season long, we don't do best of ones here in the Divine League. It is a best of three scenario. So we're going to head to a short break. And on the other side, see if FSU Garnet got any fight left in them to avoid that deadly, deadly broom. Stick with us. Back after a short break here with our showcase matchup. Week 5 of the Divine League. It's Primal Instinct Black versus FSU Garnet. Not switching sides, Gordo and Goferino, but boy, do they need a better outcome for not only this week, but arguably their season.
Yeah, we chatted a little bit while we were waiting to get in here. Not crazy about the FSUG draft on the review, right? The last pick Vi into already having seen the Zaya and everything just feels like it didn't really pay off for them big there. Feels like they were missing a lot of the meta junglers at that point and didn't have a great answer. So I want to see what they're going to go for to change things up this time around. I would not be surprised to see a Bel'Veth ban. I mean, that's just a pick that Laneless is a really big fan of, and it felt like they really did not have a great grasp on how to deal with it after it started rolling.
Yeah, Gordo, you highlighted really well last draft how Primal Instinct Black not only put a really good comp together for how they wanted to play, but comfortability-wise, it was top 3 solo queue champions across the board, arguably. So you want to see some sort of facet switch up. The LeBlanc ban obviously still very much what we expect here, and there is the first target ban going after a certain player's Thresh there, Gopher, just to try and shut down those hooks.
Yeah, let's see. Because it was Kindred and Ashe banned on the latter half of the first round of ban phase 1 here for FSG last game. We'll see what they go with for their last ban. Because the Bel'Veth that we were talking about is still up. I feel like though, if you ban that, you do give up one of those big power picks in the Kindred or the Ashe. And maybe you try and just solve around that. Okay, it is going to be the target ban. Does make sense, but
Yeah.
there's the insta-lock Kindred.
That's
very strong this patch with the Triforce build. Just kind of a tanky bruiser that scales insanely well.
All right, this does mean they get to steal away the Ashe that they did ban away last game, so that's a favored pick for Key Lime, so they're going to be happy to get their hands on that one. And I want to see a Gragas here. I mean, I think it's good into the Kindred. I think it's flexible to 3 different positions from where you're at right now. This is a big Gragas angle for me.
I expected that response though. The Kindred, I mean, you're talking about the play styles of Bel'Veth versus Kindred. They're not all that different in fights in my mind. So really easy pickup. They go for the Xin Zhao. So okay. I'm at least glad that they're picking jungle earlier than they were last draft because that really just pigeonholed them. So, but Xin Zhao blind. Well, I guess it's not technically blind. Certainly gearing up better than the vibe we saw from last game in my mind.
And it is a pick that Kazada plays a lot of, right? Like, this is something that is comfort for him. His top 3 are Wukong, Maokai, Xin Zhao. 2 of those are banned. Xin Zhao's left.
Yeah, the Bears, okay. So there's going to be the double arrow champions in the bot lane here. There's a lot of flexibility here for what this Bears wants. Ooh. The Annie takeaway, though, is interesting. The Annie Bears can be a deadly combo in the bot lane. There is no Thresh here to act as the Lantern bot here for this Ashe. But the Syndra being hovered, potentially being locked in, we know how that matchup goes in the mid lane. Very Syndra-fate.
And we saw that last time. Went very heavily towards the side of Syndra, and there could be, I think it was a good mention, go for him. There could be some flexibility thrown away with this Annie if you really wanted to, especially if you wanted to get Syndra in a disadvantageous matchup, regardless. So could be some fireworks here. Expecting though, just a bunch of top laner bans to come flying out here this time round, as we have a more, I guess, traditional draft compared to what we had last time round.
Yeah, definitely. As we did see that mid lane matchup the other way around in game number 1 ended up favoring old Platypus quite a bit. So we'll see how he's able to do on the opposite side this time around up against Silver Pup and see if they're going to be having a better time on the Annie. It's now going to be some top lane bans coming through from FSU. They're going to once again be targeting Nick Nix. That Gwen going to be a favored pick of theirs. They banned away the Fiora and the Renekton last game, so now that means one of those is probably going to end up. And then there's going to be an Olaf ban coming through, so top lane focuses from both teams.
Far at least, yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the double top lane ban here, especially from FSU Garnet. Just so they can have a really advantageous matchup up there.
Yeah, they are shifting towards at least throwing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 2 unique champions. Career Criminal really does like that Olaf. The Renekton ban coming down makes a lot of sense though too. This opens up a lot for the potential support pools, at least for the side of FSU Garnet. I mean, that Thresh already got taken away, but there's still a lot of interesting combinations with both these AD carries. Both are very much as much utility focused as they can be damage focused. And the Malphite just means we're getting all top lane taken out for the second stage. It opens up a lot from enchanters to engage supports. It's the cream of the crop pickings, Gordo.
Yeah, oops all top laners here for this side of the bans. We'll see if they do want to take a support here and save themselves last pick. That is certainly something I would endorse if I ended up seeing it come through. Hovering this rel, still a really powerful pick. Would be happy to see this come through for Sammy. Did have some great engages on it. Just weren't able to make the most of them in that game number 1. So gonna get run back here as a duo for the Ashe. Now we'll see what Primal Instinct want to take for themselves.
Well, we've got Goferino back, thankfully.
Yeah. I was double checking to make sure I didn't drop on the Vido Ninja. I'm having a bit of issues right now, it looks like. But the rel, not too surprising here, locked in. Very solid support still. And it gives you that crucial R5 counter pick here for your top lane, which is definitely what this draft is shaping up to be. Braum, gonna confirm that it is that Annie in the mid lane, but the Braum functions really well against the Ashe because Enchanted Crystal comes out, you say stand behind Braum, and then it's the disenchanted Crystal Arrow.
True.
Yeah,
Fiora maybe going to be the blind. I like to see that.
Certainly has a lot of agency to play by herself with her kit and shut down a decent amount of the counters you can throw her way. I really like the Braum. Primal Instinct Black are starting to make a staple in this showcase series. I'm sure they've been doing it all split long with these really smart calculated counters late in drafts, even on blue side, which isn't the easiest thing to do at all. The Braum is another good answer there. And yeah, this is the big pick for FSU Garnet, right? Like you need to make a statement here and pick a winning lane top. You don't have the Olaf to just kind of cruise and smash. So what's the answer? I mean, why not, right? I really thought it was gonna be Cassante, but Quinn would be a call and a half. A lot of options.
Poppy ends up being the lock-in here, so gonna go for that lane counter, gonna make sure that they're gonna be safe. I like it up against the Kindred as well, so I think it's good against both picks. Just gonna look to have a little bit of control there, gonna be a good dive buddy for the Xin Zhao and the Rel. The kind of more generic team fight composition that FSU have gone for here. I like that they've got a lot of really non-committal engage, and they got a little bit of disengage in the pockets for themselves, so might have a little bit of opportunity to kind of pick and choose their fights a little bit more. Obviously, when Rel goes in, you're going in, but you can fire off an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you can fire off a Scatter the Weak, and you can, be fishing around for these kind of picks without necessarily committing yourself to playing the full 5-on-5.
Don't forget the ultimate bailout keeper's verdict, too, if you need it.
Yeah. That one's especially huge. I mean, that's one way to get people out of the Kindred ulti.
Yeah, right?
You probably can't finish them off when they're like 4 screens away, but like, you got them out. The Lamb's Respite. Goal achieved.
I always find Kindred Ultimate interesting. I've heard this debate before. People are on either side of the pronunciation, right? It's Lamb's Respite and Lamb's
Respite. I think you can pronounce it either way. I think the word is respite, though, isn't it? Hang on. All right, now I'm the one going.
I can look up the pronunciation.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, while that's going on, they're flying through the champion side draft as you would expect here, if things are all normal.
Okay, so it's respite in America. It's respite in ye old Britain. So that's it. I guess
our vocabulary in our.
I was introduced to it on LEC or something, probably is why I say respite. So
I
yeah,
don't know, because I swear the NALCS casters also say respite.
No, it's like a split. Like someone should take a poll because I feel like everybody, like especially across all regions, well, at least in the English-speaking regions, or in the English-speaking coverages of certain regions, it's like not definitive. Like people go back and forth, but I guess technically, if we're NA versus EU guys, we're supposed to be saying respite.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna actually this is how committed I am to that rivalry. I'm gonna consciously try to say respite now. I'm not even joking. I'm gonna try to change my pronunciation to favor NA versus EU.
Oh, that's certainly great. Well, let's talk about these comms full scale though, because we talked a lot about how FSU Garnet have a lot of options in fighting. It feels like Primal Instinct Black, Goferino don't necessarily have to fight. I mean, they have that split push angle once again, like they did in game number 1.
Yeah, thing is, they don't really have the best 1-3-1 or 1-4-0 setup here. I feel because it's really just the Varus for spamming wave clear. That's if it is lethality Varus. Platypus and Laneless, they are not going to be wave clearing machines. They have to get up close, and when they get up close to clear the wave, they're usually in range for a Scatter the Weak or the Ferromancy here. So I'm a little worried about this Pib comp. It does kind of scream to me that they do kind of want to get a bit ahead early because you have quadruple carry. Fiora is a very greedy champion, really wants gold to scale. Kindred, very greedy champion, really wants gold levels and marks to scale. Okay, Annie and Varus, not as greedy of champions, especially if you go the lethality Varus, but they're still going to demand resources here. That might be a little bit of an issue because when you fall behind and you don't have that extra bit of resources to splurge on here for all these carries, well, that's going to be a bit of an issue when it comes to these big fights.
It's also important to mention that all those people you named are really close range short of occupants, right? I mean, you already talked about Annie and Kindred have to step up to clear waves. They also have to step up to like engage and drop down damage, which leaves a lot of room for these scatter the weeks. The Syndra from Silver Pup could really pop off and set up a lot of these fights. We're going to look at the runes, Conqueror on both sides for the junglers. That would make sense. The one that I'm really looking out for, these mid lane ones, and if we're seeing what type of Varus we're getting.
Oh, no, there's no double first strike.
I like taking Airy. That also, usually when you take Airy, usually is Liamdri's build, which makes a lot of sense against some of these healers.
Here in this matchup is going to be really good against the Annie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the pure math on it, but if you're able to get out of that stun fast enough and stun your own, hey.
Well, there we go, Gordo. So we're getting no lethality Varus here. It's scaling up auto attack.
It's probably the AP static Varus. That's what like most people have been going these days. So I'm expecting to see that one end up coming through. I mean, you've got the Fiora and the Kindred to hold you down on your marksman roll, so you can afford to get a little cute with your Varus builds. I think that's most likely what's going to be happening here. And going to be a fun one to check out in the bot lane, I think, especially. I think there's a lot of room for this to swing towards either side. And that's somewhere where I would really like to see FSU try to step up in game number 2 if they want to try to have a better time here. I think the Kaisa for Sofmagov in game number 1 was getting picked off a lot. It got thresh hooked a lot. If you can avoid a similar fate this time, and banning the Thresh is a great way of doing that, playing the Ashe, it could potentially make a big difference. I mean, some of these fights, if they had like that first replay we watched after the last game, right? That fight, it gets off to a rough start thanks to a great Thresh hook, and even then it's still really close, and the Kaisa dies just so early, just gets locked down and taken out incredibly early on in the fight. They can avoid a similar fate for Sofmagov this time. If they can just sit there and rain down arrows and be successful, then I think it could really change their fates and potentially take us to game number 3. My predictions be damned.
Could you think of a more CC oriented bottom lane for 2v2? I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe like a Nautilus instead of the Braum, but I mean, man, there's just so many crowd control oriented aspects of this bottom lane Go Freno that there's just got to be fireworks once at least level 3 hits.
Yeah, especially for FSU Garnet, because they're the ones with the Ignite in this matchup. And compared to Exhaust, that's not going to help you finish. Well, okay, Exhaust helps you finish off kills, but it's not like the true damage piling on. As getting some comments from Caddy about my internet. Thank you, Caddy. But especially with the Rel, because you just get on top of this Varus so easily with that Ferromancy, and then you have so much CC to follow it up with. You also went for the Glacial Augment as Rel this game. So it's not like Keylong's really going to be able to get out of you very quickly, even if they can pop the Ghost, because that doesn't give you slow immunity, and you're just going to be eating a lot of Ashe arrows in the back.
Yeah, you never want to be eating Ashe arrows. I mean, there are a lot of things in League of Legends that you can take to the face, and Enchanted Crystallized Arrow is not going to be one of them. It really always sets up for interesting pick compositions, how you play around the Ashe, and it's a good sort of switch up, right, Gordo? Because you talk about Sofmagov, maybe the positioning wasn't great, got caught a lot on the Kaisa. You need to be dealing damage as Kaisa to be useful. On the Ashe, that's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. And if Sofmagov can pull it together and have a better performance, then I think that could be a big difference maker. I think Kazada on the Vi, was really binary in what they were able to do, and they were able to take out Platypus sometimes, but always in losing fights, so pretty much never able to accomplish what they wanted. This is a champion they're more comfortable on. It's a champion that can really snowball the early game. I want to see if they can get something done here. I want to see them go mid lane. I want to see them bully this Annie. And let's see if they can get themselves off to the lead they were looking for in game number 1.
Well, let's see if they can get the lead, get a win, because FSU Garnet need it to avoid the sweep and arguably keep their season alive. So without further ado, let's go back to that same old battleground. Gordo and Gofrino live with game number 2. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Slayer. As we're back onto the rift for game number 2, Primal Instinct Black up 1-0 over FSU Garnet, looking to take themselves a clean sweep and move themselves up to a 4-1 record here in the Risen Divine League. FSU sitting at 1-3, going to want to avoid that 1-4, and not going to be a great start here if Kazada gets stunned up, getting tased down, getting taken out for first blood. Key Lime going to get that one.
Yep. Just reconnecting right now. Had a bit of an oopsie.
Well, a great start for Primal Instinct. Once again, they get themselves that first blood. They get themselves assists on that as well. And this is going to be an extra long sword for Key Lime. He's going to be loving that in the bottom lane. Already, we're looking really strong for the first few levels with this Varus plus Braum setup. And now even more so, thanks to that extra AD, they're going to be holding in their pockets. And up against a Cull setup for Sofmagof, I mean, the stat difference just grew 4 sizes this day. Gofrino. As we've lost Gofrino again, potentially. We'll go for the solo cast for a little bit until he can get back up here. Maybe we'll even bring in Slayer. You know, you never know what to expect on the Risen Divine League. As we're going to start things off on the top side, it's going to be Kazada taking the red buff, going to be laneless on the blue. So mirrored starts here, going to be both pathing down towards the bottom side and seeing if they can influence this. Not a surprise, given the lead that Key Lime just got to start out with. So feeling very comfortable, and they're both just going to decide to leave that top lane matchup alone for a little while.
Oh, hello?
Hello, Gofrino.
Okay.
We got you?
2000 ping.
Okay. You sound pretty good for 2000 ping, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, maybe. Because Discord's just being wonky with the reconnect. We'll see. If it does DC me again, we might have to bring in a Slayer here. But right now,
Happens.
just a little choppy for me. But
Cool,
otherwise
cool.
it's fine-ish.
Well, we've got you for now, and we've got a path towards bot lane coming through from both teams, although Kazada taking a little bit of a break to pay a little bit of a visit towards mid lane. Sammy getting stunned up, though, getting potentially punished. Gonna have to play careful, but they're actually trying to collapse on a platypus.
Okay.
A nice scare of the week comes through. Sammy's gonna
With
have
the
to lead the
turret
charge on this
damage.
dive, but doesn't go for it. Laneless flashes over the wall. They're looking to chase down onto this rel. The stun is gonna come through from the concussive blows, and now Laneless ready to keep chasing. Marked for death is Sammy, who will be able to avoid that Wolf's Frenzy for just a little bit longer. Is going to be a good escape for FSU, but it's Primal Instinct on the punish. They trade 1 flash for 2.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, FSU Garnet, they tried to go for the aggressive move there. It's very early doing their dives, but thankfully they don't give up any lives in that exchange.
Yeah, no, great play there for them, as now a really low health bar onto Career Criminal is going to have to throw down that W, but now just getting chased away. Steadfast Presence, not enough to stop Nicknicks from continuously going for those vitals, chopping down the health bar of Career Criminal, hitting level 4 first. Got to be very careful right now as the Poppy in this top slide. And now Laneless coming in for a little gank on the Silver Pup. Silver Pup going to flash away right away, but the stun connects from Annie, and Mounting Dread going to finish him off. Laneless picks up a kill and a mark, it looked like.
Ooh, if that's also a mark, that's just cheeky as hell. I didn't see if they got a mark from that initial jungle invade. Because usually,
oh wait,
late.
Laneless. Over the wall, didn't get the smite, but does get the chase out of Kazan. The exhaust gonna guarantee the concussive blows. Dodges out on the crash down. Laneless gets a second kill. Gonna have to jump over here soon. Just try to play with vision. Hitting on Sofmagov. So much damage. Not gonna be able to finish him off, but now Key Lime is ghosted over to the party. Fires a big piercing shot through 3, but not gonna be able to take down any targets. Sofmagov hiding out underneath the turret now. Silver Pup getting chased down. Key Lime flashing forward. Key Lime with another kill, and if he knows where Sofmagov is, he might just take him down with one more arrow. Hitting onto Sammy now, who is going to get stunned up. Concussive blows. Going to be able to pick up that next kill, going on a killing spree for Key Lime, who's just turning on a Kazada. He is taking no prisoners. They still don't seem to know exactly where Sofmagov is, so not going to go for that shot, but ooh, that's a great start for Primal Instinct.
Good lord. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it's over, but it's kind of over. It feels like you just put
Uh-oh.
yeah. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
There's a
Uh-oh,
flash
Laneless.
available for career criminal.
Okay, good dash there with the Justice Charge, as now going to be able to escape. Nicely done. Nicely done. He's out.
All right, all right. Good lord though. Yeah, it's just not letting up on any side of the map right now here. Pib. They got that level 1 kill and they have not let their foot off the pedal just yet this game. Pedal to the metal. 5-1 is the differential. Might lead to an early dragon take here as well. Dragon did just spawn about 45 seconds ago, so haven't had the biggest window of opportunity to take it per se.
Yeah, not quite there. It was a really early dragon for FSU in game number 1, but this time Kazada's on top side, so it's going to come later if it comes at all. We'll see. The bot lane is at least posturing. Sammy going to land a nice stun, but follow-up's probably not there. Keylime very strong, holding the double buffs. Commissioner just going to rush forward. They know they've got a jungler showing up before too long, and they can slow him down with the Winter's Bite. Keylime now going to force out the crash down. Would have gotten the stun with one more auto. And they're just going to force Sammy and Sofa to go on the back foot. Platypus lands the Tibbers, looking for the solo bolo, giving up a lot of farm for this, so he better hope that he gets it. But one more auto's not going to be enough.
Tibbers, no!
At least get a force Silver Pup out of lane, though. So Platypus still happy with how that went, but probably wishing he had picked up that farm.
Yeah. Platypus, I think, would have been able to secure that. Hold that thought. We got another fight breaking out.
Laneless. Firing over the wall, jumping on in, has thrown down that Wolf's Frenzy and just chasing down a target. Sammy goes down to that Mounting Dread. And Laneless now just ready to steal away more camps. Is this marked? It looks like it's marked. Yeah, it is.
Oh, is that 4 marks?
Check Laneless. That is 4 marks. Oh boy, it's the 7-minute 4 mark, Goferino.
That's like more than a mark every 2 minutes.
It is.
Nani the frick.
Yeah, this is a rough situation to be in if you're FSU. I mean, so let's do some mark math. I think he started out marking Kazada, picked it up with the first blood, got the second mark off the Scuttle Crab, got a third mark off the gank onto Silver Pup, and now just got the 4th mark off that Gromp.
Oh,
this
Lord.
Is perhaps one of the fastest 4 marks you can get on Kindred, and he is just going to be huge in these fights for it.
Because it's kind of like, you could get it faster here because there was a bit of cooldown for Laneless to technically swap there. But I mean, like, dude, 7 minutes, 10 seconds, 4 marks, like, because that's the thing everybody always talks about when they see Kindred. You know, the marks, the marks, the marks. Where are the marks? Do you have 4 marks yet there, buddy? Old Booin's like, yeah, I got 4 marks here at 7-10. Like, if this game keeps going at this rate, we might see the 7 mark point by the time, like, most Kindreds are hitting their 4 mark point.
This is a real comfortable place to be in if you're Laneless, right? This is like being 30 years old and you got your whole retirement funded, right? He's like, usually you have to be stressing about this for, like, at least 15-ish minutes, right? Like, oh man, I hope I get my 4 marks. I really need to scrape all of these together to make sure I'm going to be relevant in team fights. But he's set this up so early, investing in his future, and now is just going to be so well set up coming into the rest of this game.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about the marks, but this is also a 3-in-1 Kindred. Like, that is a huge amount of gold acceleration here. We'll probably have the Triforce fairly soonish, and I believe might be the first mythic on the map here. It depends with Keylime. They have an extra longsword from that level 1, funnily enough, so that technically delays a mythic. Hold that thought.
Yo, Laneless chasing him down, taking a lot of damage. Gonna have to throw down the Lancer Spike, but taking down Silver Pup on the outside. Stepping just a little too far away. Barely staying in thanks to the stun. Will eventually be taken down by Career Criminal, but now here's Commissioner over the wall, just hammering onto Soph Magove, leaving him be to make sure they are going to be able to finish off the rest of this. The concussive blows drops off just in time, so Commissioner doesn't actually get the stun he was looking for, but it is a 3-for-1 fight for Primal Instinct.
And the Herald, I believe. Yep, they also got it. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
And another mark for Laneless. So, yeah. This is a 4.5k gold differential before the 10-minute mark. The only reason there aren't objective bounties is because objective bounties spawn at 15 minutes. We're now 5 minutes away from that. And you can just see gold totals across the lanes. Like, it's just a differential in every single one of these.
Yeah,
At the top.
it's an issue. I mean, it's actually biggest for Key Lime, right? Key Lime has a bigger lead than Laneless does. And oh boy, is Varus enjoying that. Is Laneless going to look to equalize that a little bit. Going to try to actually get himself ahead further. Although Kazada is coming for the chase down. He doesn't have Lamb's Respite. Is going to be forced to flash over the wall. Does have Commissioner for backup, but yeah, he's pretty happy with that. He just gets a kill for free, and he's just still looking to harass. He wants those people to know how strong he is.
Yep. You know, that's a Fed Kindred. Right as we were talking about, oh, you know, it's actually Key Lime who's the highest up. I mean, Laneless, you know, they took personal offense to that. Just going right on in. I think a lot of the differential is coming from the CS lead once again here, especially in this bot lane. I mean, 30 CS? It's like 5 waves. That's huge. And first turn, bruh.
It's snowballing a bit, Gopherino. We've got a bit of a snowball occurring in this game. That's going to be Trinity Force already done for the Kindred. Platypus just looking for the solo kill here. Silverpup going to have to throw that Tibbers away. It is going to be able to pick up the shutdown. Have to watch out. Tibbers gets enraged. Flashes away as Kazada smites down the Tibbers.
I mean, fair to flash there. You were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. We also saw on the map, Commissioner was running on up as this Braum, so might have been able to finish off that kill with how low Silverpup was. Sliverpup, sorry. But, 1 for O. Never mind. 1 for 1?
No. Stepping forward. Laneless wants to finish this. Can't find him yet. Will be the jump away from Sammy. Nice use of the crash down to buy a little bit of space. We'll be able to get out of there. It's still about a 6k gold lead, maybe a 5k gold lead, 5.5, we'll call it, coming into this 12 minutes. And Laneless, he sees another mark, he wants it.
Yeah, you know what, why not? That's what, 6 marks now? Yeah, at 12 minutes. You know, the pace is slowed down a little bit here. Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits, but there's no follow-up.
Oh, Career Criminal on the verge of a solo kill. Can't get it, though. Doesn't get the last auto. And now Laneless and Commissioner are here to punish. This might just be another kill. This is going to be another mark for Laneless, by the way. This is his second upgrade. He's at 7 marks now. That's a big issue. Platypus getting engaged down in the mid lane. He's going to end up going down here. Soph Magove claims that kill. And oh boy, Soph Magove, you've got your work cut out for you this game, as you're going to have to compete with this Kindred for DPS.
Yeah, and Varus. Like, Key Lime is still 3-0-1, has the Ginsu's completed, has an extra recurve bow, working towards what I assume is going to be the Bork. It also, but probably the Bork here. And yeah, they are going to get the Dragon here at the very least. You're going to have that in your pocket. Not going to have to worry about the super early soul coming out. But you just lose topside. More plates on it. It's 1 for 1 though.
For sure. It's Laneless now. Just still pushing in the side lane on his own. He feels like he's a solo laner at this point, and I mean, he basically is. He's got more money than quite a few of the solo laners.
Yeah. I mean, because looking at Pib right now, every one of their members, except for Commissioner, already has their Mythic. We just saw the first Mythic completed here on the side of FSU Garnet for Sliverpup. Soph Magove does have the Static Shift. I'll hold that thought. Tibbers?
Oh, all right, going to be a bit of damage coming through in a Career Criminal. He's still pretty tanky. Goes in for the heroic charge, trying to take down Platypus. Not going to be able to do it. Another kill going over to Primal Instinct, and this one is just slipping further and further out of their control, Gopherino.
Yep, still no objective bounties. There it is, because you can only show up once plates go down. Man, because if you just look at it, it's now past 7k. Like, it's kind of donezo.
Yeah, it's stun coming through for Sammy. Commissioner going to throw down that ultimate, now getting a bunch of damage through, and now Kazada getting chased down the rest of the way to Crescent Guard, not going to be able to do anything, is now going to be Soph Magove melted on through, and Nick Mix leads the charge. They just rip through everybody on the side of FSU, and Primal Instinct is unstoppable at this point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, nothing FSU Garnet can really do here against this really far ahead, really fed Primal Instinct black composition. That's tier 2 being sieged right now, 315. Not the most unheard of, but Without a Herald, that's how you know you're just betting very well ahead.
Oh, Sliver Pup taken out there, and now it's going to be a 4 versus 5. That's a big punt out. Key Lime left out to dry, as is Nick Nicks. This is their chance to get some gold back.
No.
Nice flash away. Sofa Golf going to finish him off, but it's going to be at the cost of his own life. And now Kazada and Career Criminal, they have got to defend their inhibitor turrets at 15 minutes against this upcoming push. And Commissioner taking up the turret. It's a little early for that, my guy. They are instead going to just throw down the Lamb's Respite, keep Commissioner safe, take out that mid lane inhib turret, cash out again, and just reset to spend some of this 11k gold advantage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why not? You have all the money in the world. You can't have this game under locks. Sure. Just get the fadeaway Rift Shield right now. Oh yeah, you see me doing this? What are you gonna do about? I mean, okay, they actually have the man advantage coming into this, so they might be able to contest.
Yeah, he is 1 mark away from the next upgrade, so I'm just going to keep an eye on how stupidly strong Laneless can get. Enchanted Crystalero doesn't land. Laneless knows that he's spotted. He's going to hop over that wall, and the Rift Herald now going to be the target for FSU as they've just got to try to scrape themselves anything they can get. They want to make sure that they can get these objective bounties as their only path back in. A nice Glacial Fissure coming through from Commissioner. Lands on a 4. Laneless looking to claim his upgrade. He gets it, but it's in trade for himself. But the rest of the team, they're happy to oblige and finish off the job. Career Criminal teleports in and just gets locked down by the Annie. A double kill comes through for Key Lime. And now chasing down onto Sammy, the last one standing. It is going to be Nick Nicks claiming this one with ease. A hail of arrows over the wall, not going to steal it. And Primal Instinct Black take the ace for 1.
5-4-1. I mean, kind of expected here with how this game is right now. In all honesty, FSU Garnet, you're putting up a great fight, but you know, there's only so much you can do when you're this far behind. Like every single lane I'm looking at has basically an entire item up on their respective opponent, or nearly an entire item. Like it's just disgusting right now.
Yeah, I'm looking to play a little game here. I want to do how broken is Kindred at this point, because she did just get up to 10 stacks. This is more stacks than most Kindreds get over the course of a game of League of Legends. That is the 2nd upgrade of range. And if the wiki would load for me here, I would tell you how much range they end up with for this. Platypus getting another kill there, by the way.
Yeah. No, that's the 3rd upgrade. They're at 625 auto attack range now. That matches Ashe. One more upgrade and you match Caitlyn.
Yeah, that's a long range there for ye old Kindred. And yeah, just becoming a real big issue.
Yeah. Has been a real big issue. Here's inhib being taken. You know, that turret's already down. What you gonna do? Enchanted Crystal does hit. Just summoning the Herald right in their base. Magnet Storm.
All right, popping off here. Key Lime, though, staying safe the whole way through. The Clam's Respite going to buy them a little bit of time. Lameless, though, dashing back with the Dance of Arrows, stays alive the whole way through. The marksmen are shredding everybody, and they got themselves 4 kills. For FSU, no chance in this game. Number 2, completely shut out from minute 1, and Laneless with a huge carry game on the Kindred.
It's gotta be the most brutal game we've seen so far. The only fault of Pip in that last fight is they didn't have Dancing Shelly. Kind of surprised if we even have 3 replays lined up for this, because like this just snowballed out of control so quickly, Gordo. And Slayer.
Oh, don't worry, Gofrino. I've got some replays picked out. Am I happy about them as the only guy predicting a 2-1? No. But man, yeah, that was I'm willing to wager. I would say it's the biggest stomp I've ever been casting a part of on Divine League, and you know things are bad when Gordo is starting to litmus test how fed a champion is in a game of League. That's how bad this got.
Might have been 11 by the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's no difference between 10 and 11 marks. So luckily, we don't have to debate that for how much range she had, but a stupid amount of damage. I mean, and a crazy amount of range as well. It didn't make the craziest difference. Everybody just piled on top of her, and she had a Lance Respite at that last fight, so it didn't really get to show it off the most. But like Gofrino was saying, a couple more marks there, and she would have matched Kindred range, so that would have been fun to see. Matching Ashe range is still pretty nutty.
Yeah, I think you meant Caitlyn range.
Yes.
Yeah. You kind of already matched Kindred range.
Oh, correct. You are Kindred range. All Kindred ranges are Kindred ranges.
You just see.
Wow, that is a 26k or a 16K gold diff.
Yeah, that, yeah,
26 would be
that's
crazy.
Yeah, because
26
we've
would be
seen like
a world
16K
record.
differentials, but like this was finished before 19 minutes.
Yeah. They were dropping Shelly in the red side base. Things were just completely out of hand, and it has to start early in a game that's this short, and it did start early. The first replay I have up is just Primal Instinct Black. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but complete confidence over aggression. We're 4 minutes and 10 seconds in. Keep in mind, Laneless has already picked up a solo kill in the mid lane, and now is just invading on onto Kazada at this point. Good sidestep of everything Rel can throw at her. Is able to step away from all that. And the rotations come over in time. This fight goes out for a very long time, folks, because it is just complete and utter chaos in the blue side jungle, or the red side jungle, excuse me. The big part here, though, is that Keylime shows up, Ghost popped. Everyone's burned like every summoner, most of their abilities possible. And Keylime just shows up at the last minute and blows up Sliver Pup. They turn on to Sammy, and Keylime ends up 3-0 after this fight, but isn't even the real star of the game like we've been highlighting. But Keylime had another outstanding performance on the AD carry, and you'll see here as he picks up just a flurry of extra kills. He's 3-0 out of this fight, and things at this point, Gordo, were just completely off. I don't want to say you were off the rails, but as close as you can get to that, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to see that replay because I was really close to expressing some frustration with Keylime there for not taking the shot to try to finish off that Ashe. I realize now he did actually go for it. It just
He
knocked her
did.
to like 50 HP, and she spent a lot of that time not in vision. So I'll give him the break there. Would have loved to see that snipe over the wall, but didn't quite come through. But still a fantastic Varus performance in that fight, and you know, it ends up building a lead that doesn't even end up being necessary because the Kindred runs away with it so hard. It is just picking up kills in 1v2s and all sorts of crazy situations that you don't really end up needing the Fed Varus that much. But the two of them paired up together are just such a big deal in those fights. And the lead in bot lane really comes from that play.
Yeah, I mean, Platypus 2 in this game had a great Annie game. I mean, like, playing Annie isn't really difficult. When you have a lead, it doesn't matter too much. It can, but it didn't matter in this game. And we talked about the first replay. Things kind of went off the rails early. This next one, Gofreen, I'll have you take us through. It's just Primal Instinct Black, like, running away and having fun with it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this was at the 15-minute mark, and keep in mind the game ends like 3.5 minutes from now. Like there's a good keeper's verdict here to get some members out. It's just there's so much damage. Laneless already finishes off that kill. You finally get all your members here. Like, yeah, that's a great magnet storm into a pretty solid keeper's verdict. But look at how low your damage is. The riposte buying just enough time. And then yeah, it's just kind of like, what's the saying? Lambs to the slaughter, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lamb's popping off in that fight, actually, if I were to say.
True.
As
Cool,
Laneless
cool.
doing so much there, gets the triple kill, and it does end up being, you know, they get the kill on Nick. Well played by him to be able to flash back over the wall and create a little bit of distance. It does cause Soph Magov to flash forward and finish it at the cost of their own life. Just trying to scrape by a little bit of gold wherever they can get it. I mean, one of the quieter Fiora games I've gotten to see. I mean, I'm sure Nick's pretty happy with his teammates there. He got to kind of just sit up there and farm against the Poppy for most of the game.
Yeah, and we really got to see a little bit of Laneless started litmus testing, obviously just dropping Langer's Respite. Keep in mind,
Thank you. I didn't think I said respite one time that game. I'm a liar, and then I didn't follow through on my convictions one bit.
Well,
Didn't have
Gordo,
to say too much.
you can make it up to me. You want to know how?
How?
You take us through this final replay. It's the
can.
ceremonious final fight, and take us through just the absolute carnage that was the end of the game.
Yeah, like I said, Laneless doesn't get to use and abuse the Kindred range as much as you would hope. Does manage to dodge out on the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It does manage to snag the Braum at the end, but Laneless just raining so much damage. I mean, Sliver Pup not even in the game at this point. Like, does manage to throw down that big Scatter the Weak, so gets their main damage source off and forces out that Lamb's Respite. But now the dash backwards, Laneless still staying alive, still keeping their distance, and Keylime never even lost HP because everything was just getting pumped into Laneless. So he's raining down plenty of damage in his own right. It's a double kill for each of the marksmen, and the game just gets ended from there.
I like how as soon as you said that, we saw Keylime just tank like 2 or 3 turret shots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, 80. That was like an 80 carry players paradise series, right? Because both of these games we have at points, multiple of us been like, Why is Key Lime not? Nobody's paid attention to Key Lime. Last fight, nobody paid attention to him on the Zaya. He got incredible feather storms off, a bunch of stupid damage. This time on Varus, Laneless took over. You just didn't have to. We didn't even talk about Varus except that first 4 minutes and then the last 18 seconds of the game. Primal Instinct Black over here. The big takeaway, we can talk about all the small things about that blowout, but this is one of the team. It feels like one of the teams to beat in the Divine League, and that series just might have showed it.
And I mean, now they're 4-1, so this is pretty much solidifying a playoff spot for them, bar like some real tragedy here. But they're making a good case for why they're going to playoffs, making a good case for why we did all kind of vote that it would be a Primal Instinct Black dub tonight, especially that game number 2. Like 18 and a half minutes is insanely quick.
Insanity. Yeah, it's absolute sanity. And with that, that does close out our broadcast. I do want to quickly give an applause. Gordo is solely in first place of the caster predictions with that perfect prediction. I'm pretty certain. So Gordo,
I've never gotten a series wrong. I have gotten a score wrong. So I'm at 9 points out of a possible 10.
Yeah, that is very true. So Gordo is leading the charge here from the caster predictions. Primal Instinct Black is leading the charge in the Divine League overall, and that will close out our showcase this week. You heard GoForYo talk about it earlier. However you want to describe July 4th, it does mean that we are off and the entirety of the Divine League is off. So we won't unfortunately be able to see you next week, but the following week, come back here Tuesday, same time to check out the Divine League once more. We're rearing down towards playoffs, so those matchups are going to feel a lot more higher stakes. Special shout out to these two for killing the cast of what game they got to cover, because it was pretty short in time played on Summer's Rift. And always a shout out to our observer, producer extraordinaire, Caddy behind the scenes, making sure everything looks beautiful in front of your very eyes. I've been Slayer, Gordo GoForYo to my left. Take care, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy summer while you can, and make sure to come back to Divine on Tuesdays.